On the debate tonight, fly-by-night NRI grooms are under the radar. The Ministry of External Affairs has revealed that it has addressed 4,189 complaints by Indian wives who were deserted by their NRI husbands in the last 3 years.
We've seen how the government has been claiming that as per the guidelines, they are trying to help all these wives which have been deserted by their NRI husbands. But what is of importance here is the fact that, they want to amend this bill to ensure that all these men who actually desert their wives are brought to the book.
Across India, several women have fallen victim to these NRI grooms who marry them and then disappear. Their wives abandoned and left to fend for themselves.
2009 ਚ ਮੇਰੇ ਘਰ ਬੇਟੀ ਨੇ ਬਰਥ ਲਿਆ ਏਕਮਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਨੇ 2010 ਚੋਂ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਾਹਰ ਚਲਾ ਗਿਆ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਚਲਾ ਗਿਆ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਚਲਾ ਗਿਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਲਿੰਕ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਲਏ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੋਲਚਾਲ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੁਲਾਣਾ ਛੱਡਤਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਫੋਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਬੱਚੀ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ
ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਐਨਆਰਆਈ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੜਿਆ ਜਾਏ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਸੁਣਵਾਈ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਏ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਤਲਬ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਾਸਪੋਰਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੱਦ ਕਰ ਦੇਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ
Women deserted by their non-resident Indian husbands have now asked the government to immediately table a bill in Parliament that aims to take strict action against these men for abandoning their wives. This comes after External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj had on November 28th last year said that the government was planning to bring a bill in the winter session of Parliament as part of its efforts to check the menace of NRI husbands abandoning their wives.
Well, it's a much larger problem than any of us would have assumed. We understand from the government of India that they have addressed over 4,000 problems or issues that came to them from women who had been abandoned by NRIs. We understand also that the problems faced by wives who are deserted by these husbands include harassment, ill treatment, loss of communication as he goes abroad, a request for invoking or impounding passports, request for repatriation of the spouse of India and custody issues and sometimes abuse. The government had promised to bring forward some rules that would prevent NRI husbands for treating women in this manner, but so far we haven't seen that bill. Joining me on the show, Bhaskar Ghosh, spokesperson of the BJP, Colin Gonsalves, founder of the Human Rights Law Network. He's arguing for a petitioner. Shivali Suman is one of the petitioners. KK Manan joins us as well. Amjadullah Khan is a spokesperson of the Majlis Bachao Tehreek, has been fighting for women who have been affected. Abbas Singh is an advocate, and we'll also have Devyani Pave who joined us as well. Abbas Singh, my first question to you. Obviously, this is a very severe problem that needs immediate attention from the government.
Of course, more than 4,000 complaints have come of such NRI marriages going fat, that's what they say, and what is it? It's a very grave situation because these are being called NRI honeymoon brides, honeymoon marriages, because they're coming, marrying these girls and then just leaving them. Or in fact, as a lawyer, I'm handling a case where this banker who went to London and there she was brutally beaten up, thrown out in the cold on the roads, and she had nowhere to go to because neither was the marriage registered nor did she have a legal claim. So I think this is very much needed, and now Menka Gandhi did talk of saying that any NRI marriage needs to be registered between 48 hours. Then they did talk of an integral nodal agency which should work in collaboration, because this is just not a women and child development ministry matter. It involves the external affairs, it involves the Ministry of Home Affairs. So I think a group is required which would look into, not only they are talking of impounding passports, as you said, Faye, but I think more important is whatever property is held by NRIs in India, that needs to be put into an escrow account or in somewhere collateral, so that in case these people cheat these young girls, then it can be confiscated and given to them, apart from the penal provisions.
Well, do we have Shivali Suman with us? Okay. Let me bring in the other members of the panel right now. Mr. Bhaskar Ghosh, spokesperson for the BJP. We do understand that the government was considering some sort of rule or a bill. Where is the bill and what are the suggestions that the government is looking at right now?
Yeah, so I would like to, I like to present the case in two different segment. One is what has been done till today by the government, and especially our Minister of External Affairs, Mrs. Sushma Swaraj, is absolutely active in implementing those, those steps which has been taken. First, there is to provide the financial and legal assistance of the deserted women married to NRI spouses. There is an ICWF, that is Indian Community Welfare Fund, have been created, and that fund is providing the support, providing the financial support to the aggrieved wives, and it was $3,000 and which has been announced to $4,000. Apart from that, there was a guideline issued as per the ICWF, guideline to provide to 3 to 4 lawyers having knowledge of the local persons, local languages, and they have been also providing the legal services to the GCC countries as well as 20 top countries. And as well as the expert committee on the NRI marital dispute, which is tabled up in the report in August 2017. And as per their recommendation, there is an integrated nodal agency which has been formed, and who are looking each and individual cases separately, and as per the merit, they are going to provide solutions. This is the one part. Another part is what government plans to check the menace. What is government has done? What is already Sushma Swaraj has already informed that 25 passports have been already been revoked and actions have been taken. Apart from that, what the government is planning to do, they has to announce, MEA is to announce 28th of November to present a bill in the parliament to check the menace of NRI husbands murdering their wives. And the centre aims to introduce an omnibus legislation to allow the amendments to the Passport Act and Section 82 of the CRPC to make way to the compulsory registration of the marriage. The Section 82 of the CRPC is a very, very strong section that if the marriage is not registered, then immediate steps, criminal offences could be taken, and it could go up to the notice of proclamation.
When will this be tabled? Also. Winter session is almost done. When will it be tabled?
Yeah, so these... Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, that now winter session, you are seeing that what is the status of the winter sessions, and there is already government is prepared to introduce the bill, but you see how the winter session is going on. Every day there is a chaos going on in the parliament and on so many issues. So, but government is poised already. Our Minister of External Affairs has already declared that government is ready to put up the bill. Anytime the bill is going to be tabled up, if the opposition allows the smooth running of the parliament at the same time. But government, apart from parliament, government has taken measures. Government is planning to take further measures.
All right, let me also bring in Colin Gonsalves. Colin Gonsalves is the founder of the Human Rights Law Network. Yeah. Yes. Mr. Gonsalves, thank you for joining us. You've dealt with several of these cases personally. How rampant is the problem right now?
Well, it's a huge problem with about 60,000, at least 60,000 women in this country. These are documented cases of NRI brides being abandoned, left pregnant, test-ridden, all robbed, beaten often, the victims of domestic violence and so on. And I look positively at what the government says, that they are planning to make a bill. But I do hope that when they go to make the bill, they show a draft of the bill or they consult the victim community. And I hope it's not a blunder like we often see very pious intentions, but when the bill actually comes, it's a huge disappointment. So I want them to be very careful. The NRI brides, the abandoned victims, know very clearly what they want. So the government could do well to spend a couple of hours with them and ask them what is it you want in the act, so that is not a huge disappointment at the end of the day. What the government has done so far is very pitiable. $4,000, a promise of $4,000 is hardly anything. 25 passports revoked out of 60,000 cases is a miserable performance. But like I said, if I don't want to be very negative, I do hope that when the bill comes, it is a comprehensive bill that does justice to these people.
For our audience who might not understand what the extent of the problem, Mr. Gonzalez, could you describe to us what you mean when you say abandoned NRI wives? What normally happens in these cases?
Well, look, an Indian man comes down, or an Indian man is in India. He marries a woman, he gets her pregnant, he takes dowry from her, and then he runs away to Australia or America or Canada or New Zealand. Now, when he runs away, the woman can't imagine what's happened. It's happened overnight. All of a sudden, she finds she's all alone. She has no money. She's got a little child. She doesn't know how to bring her up. The husband's family throws her out of the house, so she becomes destitute. She has no income. She has no place to stay. Then she goes to the police and says, or she goes to the court, and the court issues a summons or an arrest warrant for violence and so on. But the government won't serve the warrant. The man is in Australia, and the embassy, which is supposed to serve the people of India, the embassy will treat them as, some, strangers. They are the servants of the people of India, but the embassies are like the lords, and they won't go to serve the summons and the warrant. So the husband gets away scot-free. Then she goes to the police and says, issue a lookout circular, which is a very simple thing to do, so that wherever he travels in the world, he'll be caught and he'll be arrested and whatever. Third is she goes to the passport office and says, listen, revoke his passport or cancel his passport, he'll be forced to come back. They don't do that. So none of the agencies which are supposed to serve the people of India actually bother, because NRI brides are not very important people. They are generally, after they become abandoned, they generally don't have money, so they are not important for Government of India. But like I said, I'm happy to see that at least now a minister or some ministers are taking interest in the issue. But can you imagine 60,000 women in this country just absolutely destitute with children, desperately for 10 years trying to get in touch with their husband, trying to get justice, trying to get maintenance, and trying to get justice through the courts. And the worst thing is,
yes,
many of these NRI husbands, and we have cases like this in Canada, they take out a supari on their wives. They've taken dowry, they've run away, then they arrange for contract killers to kill the women in parts of the country. So women are being killed. And the man goes on merrily to marry another woman and take dowry again. So it's a very heinous crime.
Yes.
Deserting your women and taking away their stridhan and leaving them pregnant and helpless is a terrible crime.
In fact, Smita Kudasia joins us right now in our Noida studio. Smita is, we understand, a petitioner in this case. Smita, if you don't mind sharing with our audience, what happened to you in your particular case?
In all cases of NRI fraud marriages, it's a set formula. Come to India, marry, extort dowry, try and get as much money as you can. Now you also want to enjoy yourself, so you sexually exploit a woman and then you run away. And then you cut all ties with the woman, the entire family cuts all ties with the woman, and you've absconded. And now the woman is in a state of complete trauma, left with a lot of unsettling emotions to deal with, lack of closure. She does not understand what has happened with her. And then she goes to the police, to the courts, and it's been a decade, more than a decade, she's not getting justice. So this is, in very, very short, what happens in an NRI marriage fraud.
And Smita, you've approached the courts, you're a petitioner in this particular case. Legally, and in the last several years that you've been part of this fight, what are the options available to you? What have you found?
Absolutely nothing. And that is the reason why there are women, when we meet them, they've been struggling for 10 years, 15 years. If there was enough machinery in the system, then women would have had justice by now, at least some kind of relief from the judiciary of the country, but that has not happened. There are children who have never seen their fathers. There are women who've lost their children in miscarriages and have never got closure in anything. So obviously there is a lack of a systematic procedure in the system right now that is going to bring justice to the woman. And now through this petition, through the awareness that is coming in, and through so many women now getting together and fighting, that is the endeavor, that we need a proper system in place. We need a law in place from a start to finish process for a woman, that when she gets inflicted by this, she knows what needs to be done, how it's going to be done, and what she can expect from it.
Well, I also want to bring in at this point Mr. K.K. Manan. He's a senior criminal lawyer, and everyone who's spoken so far, Mr. Manan, absolutely right, because once someone leaves the border of this country, and we've seen it happen with Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi and all of the other people, it's very difficult to bring them to book. In these cases, there's no political will or law on the side of these women. What do they do now?
You see that I will request you to hear me on two folds.
Yes.
What to talk about NRI fraud marriages, even in India. Now there is a judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court in 406/498A that you have to give a notice to the husband, and the police investigating agencies don't arrest the parents, usually 99% of the cases, and 1% only husband can be arrested, but again he will get the anticipatory bail or he will get the regular bail within 1 or 2 days. What to talk about these fraud marriages with NRIs? You see that NRI women, wherever they marry, again there are two types of NRIs. One is still they have not obtained the citizenship of that country. That person can be deported to India by cancelling his passport under Section 10 of the Passport Act. But the second problem, major problem, is who are the citizens of those countries where they live. It is impossible to deport them, to bring them back, especially if somebody is the only husband in the family, others are not there. I have dealt at least 10-20 cases where after marriage, as one of the panelists and that aggrieved lady was describing you, that how they are suffering and how their children have not seen the face of their father. Likewise, one of my clients, I can tell you about her. She was married here. Husband promised her that he will send her the visa. He was American national. Within 2-3 months, he will take you to America. Now you see, he has sent the papers for visa. She got the visa only for 6 months, and after 6 months she was again deported in India. Thereafter he never took any care of that lady. She is fighting the cases here against the father-in-law and mother-in-law. Both said that we do not know. We are trying their hard. We are requesting our son to come back and to take the daughter-in-law. That is all fraud being played by the parents also, because as per the suggestions or advice of the lawyers, they used to write down to the letters to the son replying them, but he is not coming to India. Why? If he will come to the India, then he will not be able to go back, because there will be a condition that he will not leave the country without prior permission of the court, and court will not grant the permission to such type of husband, to such type of an accused, to go back until he will settle the matter with the wife here. But 99%, rather 99.9% people don't come to India after marriage. As one of the panelists and aggrieved lady was telling, taken dowry, sexually exploited that lady, sometime lady pregnant here itself, and delivered a child, and that person never came back to India. For that purpose, overseas ministries should in fact have an agreement, some agreement with the other countries in such type of cases. You see that the persons who are citizens of those countries, they can't be deported easily except extradition.
Yes.
In extradition cases, most of the country don't deport the person in such type of crime. they don't see the matrimonial crimes are a serious
It's a
crime.
serious crime.
Because
Yes,
in
yes, it's a civil
America, in
crime.
other few
Yes.
countries, there is a domestic violence. Domestic violence, then in 2-3 countries or 5 countries, ladies
Yes, Mr.
can
Manan.
take some help from the local police. But so far as matrimonial discord is concerned, even I say that one of my clients took the divorce in America within 3 months. By sitting the lady in India, ex-party divorce, he has taken it. Now the lady is fighting in the Honorable Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court can't help that lady because the law in which he has taken the divorce applicable only in America.
Yes. Well, Mr. Manan, I have one more guest I'd like to introduce. Absolutely. One more guest I'd like to introduce, please, if I may. Amjadullah Khan joins us right now. He's from MBT. He's a spokesperson of the party in Hyderabad, and we understand he's worked with a lot of cases in Hyderabad. It's particularly rampant in the state of Telangana. Mr. Khan, if you could take us through some of the instances that you have helped with, and why is the abandonment of wives in the Hyderabad region particularly rampant? What is different about Hyderabad?
See, in the south, there are a number of cases being reported from Hyderabad and in Bangalore also. This is the reason why there are two types of harassment to the women. One who are born citizen of other countries who are marrying Indian girls, and those who have been born in India and have migrated and taken citizenship of other countries. So basically, there are two different stories also coming up. One from the Gulf states and one from the America and Canada, like that it is. There are many number of cases. The girls were married in the states, and they have been abandoned, and they have been not being given divorce also. They are just left over like that only, and they have been returned to India after the marriage. And the Indian police, the Indian court and the Indian police will not do anything because saying that they have been married in America. And there they cannot go and fight up their legal case because once her husband divorces, then she is not having any green card or having any citizen to fight in the court of law there also. With regard to the Gulf cases, once the husband divorces the lady, whether she is an Indian or she is an anything, she has to go back to the country. I am having many cases, like one lady was married for nearly 40 years in UAE, a husband. Then once her husband has divorced, she has ceased of having a citizenship of UAE also, and she was declared a person non grata. She was neither a citizen of India, she was neither a citizen of UAE, and no one was there. Even the Indian embassy there, she was not being given any home to stay there in Dubai. So then we wrote to the Sushma Swaraj madam, and she in turn wrote to UAE embassy. The embassy gave her shelter, and then she came back. Once the girl is married, she has to adopt the citizenship of that Gulf country, whether it is UAE or some other country, and her Indian passport is surrender. And when there are differences, so she will not be a citizen of India also.
Yes.
So the major solution is that all the Indian embassies working abroad, they should have some special officer to treat these cases. Like Amreen Rohi case, which I have forwarded to you, you have seen that. She was married and she is having one baby. The baby is only for 7 months or 8 months. And the mother has to feed that baby. That Amreen Rohi, she has been deported from Dubai, and her in-laws are living there, and she cannot feed the baby also. That 7 months baby is not being given custody.
Yes, yes.
So whom she should go? The Indian police is not helping her. No court of Indian law is
Where
helping
should
her.
she go?
And
Yes.
the Indian embassy has not also responded to their complaint.
Well, also joining us right now is Sarabjit Kaur is a victim. Sarabjit जी हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए बहुत धन्यवाद. क्या आप हमें समझा सकते हैं कि आपके साथ क्या हुआ था? आपकी शादी कब हुई थी?
मैम मेरी शादी 2008 में हुई थी. मैं मुकेरिया की रहने वाली हूँ और गुरदासपुर में मेरी शादी हुई थी दिलेर सिंह के साथ
जी.
और 2010 में वो अमेरिका चला गया था. अमेरिका के रास्ते वो कनाडा गया. उसके बाद वो आज तक वापस ही नहीं आया है. उसके पेरेंट्स भी वहाँ पे है, मेरी सिस्टर इन लॉ, ब्रदर इन लॉ, तो मतलब कि सारे फॉरेन ही रहते हैं, अब्रॉड में ही रहते हैं। तो वो तो एक बार भी, मेरे हस्बैंड तो एक बार भी वापस नहीं आया। मेरी एक बेटी भी है जो 9 ईयर की है इस टाइम और 10वें साल में है वो, लेकिन मेरे हस्बैंड ने पीछे पर एक बार भी वापस नहीं आया। और वहाँ पे उसने मैरिज भी कर ली है ऑलरेडी, उसका एक बेटा भी है वहाँ पे। और मेरे जो इन लॉज हैं वो भी मेरे साथ कोई अच्छा व्यवहार नहीं करते हैं, काफ़ी मुझे तंग परेशान किया जा रहा है। पहले टॉर्चर भी, मेंटली टॉर्चर भी किया, फिजिकल टॉर्चर भी मुझे किया गया है, जिनकी काफ़ी मुझे टॉर्चर किया गया कि ये हमारे घर से खुद ही चली जाए। और मुझे कोई भी कॉल नहीं है, मेरे हस्बैंड की तरफ से कोई रिस्पांस नहीं आया। मैंने कॉल वगैरह भी की है, कोई रिस्पांस नहीं आया है। मैंने यहाँ तक कि मैंने केस वगैरह भी लगाए हुए हैं, मेरे कोर्ट केस चल रहे हैं, लेकिन कोई कार्रवाई नहीं हो रही है। मेरे हस्बैंड के खिलाफ कोई कार्रवाई नहीं हो रही है। वो शरेआम वैसे घूम रहा है, शादी की हुई है। तो मैं और मेरी बेटी यहाँ पे गुरदासपुर में है, पंजाब में। तो आप सोच ही सकते हैं कि हम लोग किस हालात में रह रहे हैं वहाँ। हमें कोई भी गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से या कोई पुलिस प्रोटेक्शन की तरफ से, किसी की तरफ से कोई हमें सहायता नहीं मिल रही है। कोई हमारी हेल्प नहीं कर रहा है कि हम उस NRI जो भी धोखा देके जा रहे हैं उनके खिलाफ कोई सख्त से सख्त कानून नहीं है, कोई कार्रवाई नहीं है। आज जाके सिर्फ इतना कि है, क्या बोलते हैं, 496 का पर्चा किया जाता है, उसके अलावा NRI के खिलाफ कोई कार्रवाई नहीं की जा रही है। दुखी है, अकेली हम नहीं, मैं अकेली नहीं हूँ, मेरे साथ बहुत सी लड़कियां हैं जो NRI हस्बैंड के NRI हस्बैंड ने उन्हें तंग किया, परेशान किया है। कई लेडीज तो ऐसी भी हैं जो 63 ईयर की भी हो चुकी हैं, उससे अबव हैं, उससे ज्यादा की भी हैं लेडीज जो इस परेशानी से गुजर रही हैं।
जी जी
हाँ,
yes.
तो मैं
so
मेरी परेशानी भी करता है।
Sarabjit Kaur joining us out of Gurdaspur in Punjab. Sarabjit ji, thank you for sharing your story, and I will come back to you. We have Cynthia on the phone line from Chennai right now, I think what we are growing to understand is that this is a problem that cuts across various stratas of society, educated and perhaps women from tier 2 and tier 3 rural India as well. Cynthia from Chennai, go ahead. Cynthia, are you what would you like to say?
Yeah, I'm from Chennai here.
Yes.
And in Tamil Nadu, we are having a lot of this issue, but they are unable to come and rise it up because of family dignity. And my husband, Rafael Arokyam, is a PR in Singapore. I have a domestic violation case on him pending in court, and court is unable to serve summon to him. And district court has no idea how to serve it through MHA. They don't even have this form. I have a 4.5-year son here with me who's also suffering this. I've been fighting this from 2013. Still, there's nothing. I'm not even close to getting justice here.
Well, Abba Singh, the stories that we're hearing right now, obviously across various, various parts of society, could it also be the social evils of dowry and India's obsession with NRIs and with grooms that come down to India, get married in 2-3 weeks flat to women they have just met and then disappear again?
Of course, dowry is one issue, but I think there has been a continuous fascination in India for the NRIs. The flashy lifestyle or a green card has compelled the parents to get their daughters married without due diligence, without doing due verifications. We are also forgetting the fake websites which have come, the cheat websites that have come, which put these, which con these girls' parents into marrying these NRIs. And since they are placed outside India, no action is taken on them. I think we need to check these websites also, through which the NRIs are connecting in the families. Dowry, of course, is one issue, but as I was saying, the domestic violence, there are provisions under Section 12 of the Domestic Violence Act where you can file a case against these NRIs if the marriage has taken place in India, and summons can be issued to them. But yes, since there is no coordination between the different departments, be it external affairs, be it the home department, and what is appalling, Faye, you were very right when you said after 4.5 years, the BJP spokesperson is saying that we are doing this, we are doing that. So this means that for 5 years they have not even bothered. This is the 5th year in government and they have not come out with this. It should have come on day one. They are concerned about temples, they are concerned about everything, but they are not concerned about these NRI brides. I think in the first year they should have come out with the law. Nonetheless, at least in this session, if they don't come out, it would clearly show that this government is not very committed to these genuine issues. It is only committed to issues where there is a vote bank politics. So I hold this government and other governments equally responsible, because definitely women are being exploited, they are being dumped, they are being beaten brutally, and since the marriages are not registered, and they said that they would get a law in which it will be compulsory to register the marriage within 48 hours, but I don't think anything has been done till now.
Yes, Bhaskar Ghosh, go ahead, of the BJP, go ahead.
Well, I see the madam, perhaps today there is no Congress spokesperson is there. So she might be taking the place of a Congress spokesperson, alleging that BJP has not done anything in 4 years. But you try to understand, in last 70 years, what has been done. You know, you never complain about it. You always say the 4.5 years, what have you done? Number one. Number two, 2017.
We voted for you
2017
for
itself, our Honorable Minister of External Affairs.
You talked of women empowerment, that is why the women of India voted for you.
This is all issues. These are all issues we are touching one by one. They're all issues we are touching one by one. 2017 itself, our Honorable Minister of External Affairs and our Honorable Minister of Family and Women and Family, they have addressed it.
No, one at a time, please. One at a time. Bhaskar Ghosh, the truth is
they have not.
So do not link it with Ajodhya issue. Do not link it with any because it's different.
All right. Bhaskar Ghosh, allow Abba Singh to make a point. 1 second.
I'll tell you.
Let us not go on a case-to-case basis. Then we are deviating from the main core discussions.
I'll tell you another issue. You lowered the age of juvenile crime. You said any juvenile. The law came that any juvenile who commits a heinous offence would be tried under the penal code. That is for murder and for rape. I had a case in Mumbai in which this juvenile pushed a woman on the platform and she died. And then we said that he should be tried for murder because that was the mens rea. He wanted to pull her chain. So we go to the court. We say that the new law has come. Maneka Gandhi speaks about it. The government speaks about it. And you know what the court says? The law which you bring, you say, only that would be treated as heinous punishment, where the punishment is up to 10 years.
Okay.
And the judge tells us, when will it be decided? 10 years. How do you know it is going to be more than 10 years?
All right, Abba Singh, I have to just bring this back on point. 1 second, I'm just going to bring this back on point for a second, please. I'm just going to bring this back on point. I understand that Swati has something to say. Go ahead.
Point, ma'am.
Hi. I would request everyone to not make this a party issue. This is a pan-government issue. We have a very powerful government sitting right now. We have 4 cabinet ministers who are women and very staunch vocalists about, very opinionated. So what I'm trying to understand and what abandoned women of this country are trying to understand is that why none of them have done anything. Be it in this government, be it any other government, why nobody has taken suo motu cognizance of this problem which is so badly penetrated in this society. Why women are running around for 10 years? Why is no one doing that? Just 2 days back on Twitter, NCW chairman was presenting a bouquet, a coffee table book to the Prime Minister and talking about women's empowerment. Why not any suo motu cognizance by the National Commission for Women in the past so many years? Why not a statement by the DCW? Why not a statement by 4 years back when this, these crimes were so badly existing in the society? Why at least let's do something now in this winter session by Jan 8. Let's table that bill. Let's bring some relief to the women. Please sit with the victims of these crimes and try and understand how badly it has affected them. You're living a life of unsettling emotions, lack of closure, mental, physical health, trauma.
Yes.
How will women reintegrate into societies?
Right. In fact, Meenakshi on the phone line.
How will they reclaim their lives?
Meenakshi on the phone line from Delhi. Meenakshi, go ahead, please.
गुड इवनिंग मैम, मेरा नाम मीनाक्षी है और मैं दिल्ली से ही बिलोंग करती हूँ. मेरी शादी 2011 में
राजकुमार के साथ हुई थी, जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया में उस टाइम यहाँ ऑस्ट्रेलिया में रहता था और यहाँ आके शादी की, और वो स्टडी वीजा पे गया था, और आफ्टर 48 डेज ऑफ मैरिज वो मुझे यहाँ पर छोड़ के चला गया। और मेरी शादी होते ही मेरे इन लॉज ने मुझे परेशान करना शुरू कर दिया। और मेरी शादी करनाल में हुई थी, अभी भी मेरे इन लॉज करनाल में ही हैं, और शादी होते ही उन्होंने डाउरी की डिमांड शुरू कर दी, और उसके साथ साथ मुझे फिजिकली, मेंटली सभी तरीके का टॉर्चर मुझे दिया गया। और उसके बाद वो यहाँ से 24 जनवरी 2012 को यहाँ से वापस चला गया, ये श्योर करके, और मेरे सारे जो स्टडी के डॉक्यूमेंट्स थे सब कुछ मतलब मुझसे ले गया यहाँ पे, कि वो वहाँ से जल्दी जाके मेरे लिए उसके आने के लिए अप्लाई करेगा। और उसके बाद जाते ही उसने मेरे से जाते सारे कांटेक्ट वहाँ से तोड़ दिए, और 2013 में मेरी FIR हुई। और मतलब मेरा कहना ये है कि अभी तक भी उसने चार्जशीट फाइल, मतलब मेरे हस्बैंड के खिलाफ अभी तक चार्जशीट फाइल नहीं हुई है। मतलब वहाँ पे पुलिस का कहना ये है कि वो उस टाइम यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट नहीं था, तो हम उसके खिलाफ चार्जशीट कैसे फाइल करें। मतलब हमें इतनी छोटी छोटी चीजों के लिए लड़ना पड़ रहा है। 2013 से मेरा केस चल रहा है, कोर्ट में है, बट उसके पेरेंट्स को इसलिए बेल मिल गई एक दिन में ही कि वो सीनियर सिटीजन है। हमारे पेरेंट्स नहीं बूढ़े हो रहे हैं, हम कहाँ जाएं? हम जाते हैं वहां पर पुलिस स्टेशन, तो हमसे कहा जाता है NRI से शादी क्यों की थी। NRI यहाँ आके शादी क्यों करते हैं? क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पे हमें उन्हें सब कुछ मिलता है, उन्हें इजीली टारगेट मिलता है। हम जैसी लड़कियों को फंसाते हैं, पैसे लेते हैं, डाउरी लिया, सब कुछ लिया, गायब। उन्हें पता है कि इंडियन गवर्नमेंट कुछ खरीदती नहीं है यहाँ से आके, और वो स्टडी वीजा पे है। मैं लड़कियों को सुन रही हूँ कोई PR पे है, किसी के हस्बैंड सिटीजन है, बट मेरे हस्बैंड अभी 2017 तक स्टडी वीजा पे हैं। मैं सुषमा स्वराज मैम को मतलब उनके कांटेक्ट में गई, तो उनकी PA ने मुझे बुलाया, मिसेस वानी राव ने, तो वहाँ पे मुझे एक लीगल असिस्टेंस स्कीम उन्होंने दे दी, जो अभी सर बता भी रहे थे कि उसमें वो $3000 का एड देते हैं, बाकी कुछ आपको करना पड़ेगा। पर मैं करूँगी कहाँ से?
Yes, fair enough. Mr. Manan, do you want to address this, the fact that these women don't know who to go to or where to go?
You see that Awaz Singh ji spoken rightly today. She is also one of the best criminal lawyer in Bombay. Another panelist also apprised you how the women are suffering by getting the marry with all NRI frauds. One thing, just the lady was speaking from Karnal. I would like to tell her, मैम, मैं एक बात से बिल्कुल सहमत नहीं हूँ आपसे। मैं पंजाब का हूँ, बेसिकली रहने वाला। मुझे पता पंजाब किस तरह उजाड़ दिया इन NRI ने, खासकर दुआबा, जलंधर, लुधियाना एरिया, गुरदासपुर, तबाह कर दिया इन लोगों ने। इंग्लैंड, कनाडा, अमेरिका लोग आते हैं और शादी करते हैं और महीना 2 महीने रह के चले जाते हैं। तो उसमें कौन जिम्मेदार है? थोड़ा बहुत हमारा भी दोष है। लेकिन मैं अब नाउ आई विल कम ऑन द पॉइंट, व्हाट आर द सॉल्यूशंस? Awaz Singh rightly told you and apprised you, this government or the earlier government never taken any measures, never enacted any law, and never had any treaty for these offences with any government, any country. They should have at least would have made the treaty that so far as these NRI frauds, if the marriage taken place either in abroad or registered in India, these people should be treated like an Indian marriage. The people are being treated under section 498A, 406 or Dowry Act or Domestic Violence or Maintenance Act, whatever the law are applicable in India for all these women. These laws should be applicable to those people. And but I'm coming again on that point. Two things. If the person is not citizen there, his passport can be cancelled under section 10 of the Passport Act. But if he is a citizen there, ma'am, he will not be deported at least the whole life, because they treat this marriage a very petty offence there. They don't treat the marriages because it is a petty things for them, not for poor, innocent Indian girls, because our laws and our society is totally different from the society in abroad. And these, I was just listening the Punjab lady, really disgusting. You see that man, a child was also born. Man had gone from America to Canada and settled there. Now he has taken the citizenship of Canada. He can't be deported to India, whether 10 years or 20 years. It is crystal clear until there will be a treaty in between the countries for these offences, because we have to apprise the other countries, other foreign offices, that we are
there's
suffering
another
and we
angle
are
to this debate.
miserably. And
Yes, Mr. Menon, there's one more angle to this debate that I do want to bring in, and that is the Hague Convention and the fact that when women, for example, who are living overseas with their husbands, take their children and come home out of fear of abuse or fear of ill treatment, there are laws in some countries that treat them as kidnappers, that they've kidnapped those children and taken them away without the father's permission. And that puts them at a completely different risk. Mr. Colin Gonsalves, is that also a risk that Indian women are facing right now?
Definitely.
Well, most of the clients that I have and most of the people that we have met are not people who are leaving the countries abroad and coming here with their children and are being threatened with prosecution. Rather, it's the reverse, that people leave the women behind and then go abroad and then abandon them. But even if they were to leave a country abroad and come back to India with their children, there is adequate protection available in the Indian courts to see that they are not prosecuted for bringing children with them. Parents are not kidnappers, broadly. So the law of kidnapping and abduction is broadly not applicable to women who bring their children with them. And so there is enough protection available in Indian law to protect women who bring their children with them and come back to India.
Yes.
And I would say to any woman who is being beaten and who has children that that is the correct thing to do. Rather than be at your husband's mercy and get maltreated, take your children and come to India, and we'll see. Indian law will protect you to some extent, to quite a bit of extent. You are justified in doing what you did.
Yes,
absolutely justified.
Devyani Bhavi joins us as well. She's an advocate in Mumbai. She drafted the petition to the Women and Child Ministry. Devyani ji, do you believe the government is on the right track at this point with this issue?
Yes, the document is definitely on the right track, and the government of India, by not agreeing till date, in spite of stiff pressure from Western countries, in spite of that stiff pressure, India has not succumbed to that pressure. India has not signed the Hague Convention on international parental child abduction till date, and that itself is a big point in favor of this government, our government at present. Each and every government has until now been under tremendous pressure from Western countries to sign the Hague Convention. And signing the Hague Convention would be a disaster as far as Indian women are concerned. It has to be understood that the Hague Convention was signed and came into being at a time in history when American children were being taken away from America and were being taken away by the Middle Eastern husbands of American wives. That is why the Hague Convention was established, in order to be able to bring back those American children back to America. But now it is being misutilized on a large scale in order to criminalize the act, natural instinct and act of an Indian woman in fleeing to safety with their children. Whenever there is a marital dispute, wherever the woman or her children are facing any physical or mental violence in foreign countries, and at such times when they feel that they need to find safer shores in India and they come back to India, then their very natural natural instinctive act of fleeing for safety with their children is treated as a criminal act.
Yes, it's treated as a criminal act.
And they are sought to be made to sound as if they are criminals.
Yes. In fact, Rakesh Garg has just called us. One moment, madam. Rakesh Garg has called us. He's the chairperson. He's the chairperson of the NRI Commission of Punjab, I understand. Mr. Garg, go ahead. What would you like to say?
Yes. Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Garg.
Yes. I would like to say that I fully agree with Ms. Devyani Bhave. In fact, now the India government has also had a full debate on this issue, and there was a committee formed for it under the chairmanship of Justice Bindal, Rajesh Bindal, Judge of the Punjab and Haryana High Court. I was a member of that committee, and I believe that document is available with the Law Ministry and the Children Welfare, this Menka Gandhi's ministry.
Yes.
And in fact, we have given strong safeguards in that. And we have said that if you want to go for this for enacting such kind of law, that will be totally against our social fabric. On the issue of NRI girls, desertion of NRI girls,
yes,
probably the problem can be solved if we amend the law further for inheritance of property. You know, today, Indian wife has no right in the property of her husband unless he dies. Unless he dies. She has only right to claim maintenance from him during his lifetime.
Yes.
And that is the reason that the wives are treated after 7 or 10 or even 15 years, one fine morning, if he is not happy with the husband, is not happy with the wife, he will say, okay, I will not stay with you. You go wherever you want to go. This kind of situation is there, which is being exploited every day. And especially in Punjab, the husbands, they come here, they get married to a girl, and they will never come back.
Yes, that's a fair point, Mr. Garg. Abba Singh, do you agree with him that perhaps it's the inheritance laws, if they were modified and the wives who get left behind have claim on their husband's property, that would change this entire scenario drastically?
Of course, a wife has a claim to her husband's property to some extent because if you remember recently, the parliament was saying that the wife cannot claim a right to the shared household if the house belongs to her father-in-law. So we have the concept of a shared household wherever the woman is living after marriage. She can always continue to live in that house. To that extent, they do have inheritance laws. But the issue is, why don't you have a collaboration of all the ministries? Bigger issues are you make amendments in the Passport Act, you make amendments in the Marriage Act, and ensure that the marriage is registered and the NRI who's cheating this person is brought back. You have extradition treaties. You know where these two women are coming from. It's America, it's Australia, it's Canada. So let us have these things in place. Only now we are trying to get Vijay Mallya. So get extradition treaties in place. Let the message go that if you marry an Indian woman, you can't mess up with her. Even if you go anywhere, you would be brought back. So till that the fear of the law is there, we will not be able to give justice to our NRI brides.
Last word to Smita. Smita, go ahead, please.
Hi, I just wanted to say one thing, that there is a whole lot of callous attitude when it comes to this issue, because it is constantly termed as a matrimonial dispute. Firstly, we need to position it very, very strategically that it is a marriage fraud. There is sexual exploitation involved in this. There's economic exploitation involved. There is essentially an element of fraud, a footprint of fraud all throughout this. This is a transactional thing. So sections of 420, 376, they should be modified. The Indian Penal Code should be modified in a manner that these offences are applicable. Once these offences are applicable in your FIRs, in your court cases, they become applicable for extradition or deportation, because currently under 498A, there is no deportation or extradition that is done, which is very well a statement by the Ministry of External Affairs on their website, if we look at it. And these sections, once they are modified in a manner, they should be included in such offences, because NRI marriage fraud is a mixture of so many offences, you know, so much exploitation. So we can work this out from by changing and amending our own laws, but that is not happening. And we have been giving recommendations to the government for a long time now.
Yes, unfortunately I have run out of time. But it simply boils down to the fact that there needs to be a closer and a clearer look at this issue that empowers the Indian women who are fighting for justice from their husbands who have abandoned them. Also, a note to those around you in your social circle and otherwise, this business of the obsession with NRI husbands, people who come down to India for 1 or 2 weeks, find themselves a bride, get married and then disappear again. we must guard ourselves against it. Just because someone lives overseas doesn't mean they promise a better life, especially if their entire purpose is fraud. Thanks for watching.